Welcome back, students, to the next session of Daffodils. Before I begin with the theme and the critical appreciation, let me get back to the main points of the poem. You already know Daffodils is written by William Wordsworth. He happens to be the poet of Romanticism. He believes that he was a nature lover, and he believes that nature provides immense and eternal bliss to life. The poet is wandering in one of the idle ways around the woods, and suddenly his eyes fell upon the large belt of golden daffodils blooming along the bank of the lake. A gentle breeze made these golden-colored flowers wave and dance. The poet then further compares these daffodils with numerous as stars that shine and twinkle in the Milky Way. They have been spread in a long line on the bank of the lake. The poet saw a large number of them moving their heads as if they were dancing and rejoicing. The poet observes that the waves on the surface of the lake seem to be dancing, but the dance of daffodils surpasses the dance in liveliness. The poet feels that no poet can help feeling delighted in presence of this beautiful company. He keeps continuing the gaze at the beautiful scene. He was so lost in its beauty that he could hardly realize its worth at that present moment. It was later, when he sat in a very pensive and melancholic mood, that the memory of the scene of the golden daffodils fills the poet's mind with joy. His heart begins to dance with the daffodils. He forgets his sadness and loneliness. It is, of course, in solitude that human mind captures the things which he had already seen. The poet here emphasizes that the nature is the source of eternal joy to the man. We start with the theme. The two basic themes of daffodils are nature as a source of joy and nature as has a healing power. The poem, which starts with the poet wandering around in the woods, is an actual visualization rather than imagery. It depicts the sight the poet actually enjoyed in the company of his sister Dorothy. Now the poem brings home with this poem the idea that nature is the source of eternal joy. Nature is full of beauty that captivates us all the time. The beautiful objects of nature, flowers, plants, trees, leaves, lakes, ocean, stars, sun, moon, so on, they fill our minds with pleasure. Whenever a person is stressed, depressed, or in a melancholic mood, you sit in a solitude and enjoy this. This gives you an internal bliss of life. Similarly, the poem Daffodils, it is about the beautiful scene of those daffodils, golden daffodils, that mesmerize the poet. The daffodils, which were growing near the lake, appeared to be tossing their head in gentle breeze, as if they were in a dance, and the poet realized that he was in a beautiful jocund company. He continued to gaze at the beautiful sight, the real worth of which he realized only when he was away from there. He realized that nature has the ability to soothe and delight us in our melancholy and pensive mood. The beautiful scene of the daffodils often flashes across his mind, and he feels as if his heart were dancing in joy with the dancing daffodils. This can be very well explained when he speaks in the last stanza. In vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with daffodils. Now the second point which we come to, that the nature acts as a healing power. The poem shows how nature has the power to heal our stressed soul. If we care to turn to nature, we are amazed to find wonderful and beautiful sights, such as one described in Daffodils. The concluding stanza makes it clear that the beautiful sight in nature is capable of deleting stress and gloom from our mind. The poet says that whenever he is in sad, idle mood, the beautiful scene of the daffodils fills his mind with pleasure. This is what he feels in the lap of nature. By looking just at starry sky, the rising or the setting sun, a garden, birds and trees, we forget all our woes and it heals. We come next to critical appreciation. The poem Daffodils was inspired by a real incident. Wordsworth and his sister Dorothy came across a large number of golden daffodils during a walk in the woods. Wordsworth gave poetic expression to his experience, and the poem he wrote was published in 1807. It is a revised version which appeared in 1815, and it is important to keep in mind that the lines they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude, was a contribution by Wordsworth's wife. The title of the poem, Daffodils, is absolutely apt, as the whole poem is about the golden daffodils which the poet saw during his walk and which became a source of continuous joy for him. It is definitely a nature poem, and it describes the note how the poet's mind receives the impression from his chance meeting with host of golden daffodils. This has the capacity to make him calm and happy in his melancholic and idle mood. Next we come to the style and the form of the poem. The poem is in a lyrical form. It gives expression to the single emotion or feeling of joy in nature. Like a true lyric, it is not complex. It appeals more to the heart than to the intellect. It is quite short but musical. It also speaks about personification. We all know personification is something which takes on inherit the quality of a human being. In order to convey an inherent unity between man and nature, Wordsworth compares himself to a cloud, an object of nature, while he humanizes the daffodils by using the word a crowd and a host for them. Next, we come as simile. There are a number of similes in the poem. The poet compares his idle wandering of that of the cloud over hills and valleys. Then he compares the beauty of daffodils with that of twinkling stars in the sky. He also compares the dance of daffodils with that of the waves in the lake to pinpoint the superiority of daffodils in their liveliness. We have next the structure. The poem is divided into 4 stanzas, each having 6 lines with the rhyme scheme of ABA, BCC. We come next to alteration. You can very well underline in the third stanza the last second line, I gazed and gazed. That is repetition of the sound. Inversion, for often when on my couch I lie, and 10,000 saw I. And metaphor stands for a very important one, that is the inward eye, which refers metaphorically to the memory. I hope you have understood the poem and your sessions have been accomplished. Thank you. See you with the next session.